Hello, Gemini. This is your July 2018 astrology forecast, and I'm Citrina. Now, let's get right into it because we have a lot going on this month in July. Let's start off with the fact that Mercury is going retrograde on July 26th. Remember, when Mercury is retrograde, it's not a good time to sign contracts. It's not a good time to plan travel. It's not a good time to buy technology. Why? Because Mercury rules those things. And when Mercury is retrograde, it tends to bring about miscommunication, travel delays. It tends to break down technology, things of that nature. So just keep that in mind. Any technology you want to buy or any contracts you want to sign or travel you want to plan, try to do it before Mercury goes retrograde or after Mercury goes retrograde. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's look at Venus. Venus is in Leo until the 10th, and then it goes into Virgo. Now, for you, Venus in Virgo is going to be in your house of home and family life. Now, let's compare Venus in Leo compared to Venus in Virgo. Let's say you're dating. Okay, so when Venus is in Leo and you're dating, you like to splurge. Okay, for you, Venus is going to be in Leo in your house 3. So you might like splurging on electronics or something like that. Now, when Venus is in Virgo, it's going to be in your house 4. So, Gemini, if you're dating anyone, during this time, you're going to be sitting back, looking at how they keep their house, what type of inner feelings they have, things of that nature. Because when Venus is in Virgo in your 4th house, it's sort of like an analytical energy. Okay, so as far as when you're dating and you have Venus in the sign of Virgo, it's more of an analytical aspect. Now, if you are dating a Gemini and you want to impress them this month, then you can impress them by keeping a clean house. You can impress them by being in touch with your feelings, like how do you feel about certain things, because house 4 is also about your inner self-talk. So if you're dating a Gemini this month, they don't want to hear about how you want to lose weight, or they don't want to hear about your inner self-talk, your negative inner self-talk. Okay, so if you're dating a Gemini, keep it all positive. Even because a lot of times things that we say out loud is really our inner talk. So if you're dating a Gemini, they don't want to hear about how you want a facelift, or how you're dissatisfied with something, dealing with yourself. Okay, with Venus in Virgo in the 4th house, Geminis are going to be looking at such things as, how do you keep your house? How do you feel about home and family? Things of that nature. So just keep that in mind this month. Let's look at Mars. Mars is in Aquarius and it is still retrograde. It's going to be retrograde until August 26th. Now, for you, it falls in your house 9. Your house 9 deals with long distance travel. It deals with the legal system. It deals with philosophy, dealing with people from other cultures. So remember, Mars is going to be retrograde until August 26th. So all of those topics you really won't feel like dabbling in much because Mars is retrograde. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that's happening this month is that Jupiter is going direct. Now, Jupiter has been retrograde in Scorpio. For you, it's been retrograde in your 6th house of your daily work routine, your health, and vitality. So things that you've been thinking about surrounding your health, surrounding your daily routine, you'll start seeing action in those areas when Jupiter goes direct on July 10th. Let's look at the sun now, because the sun will be in Cancer until the 22nd. And then as of the 22nd, we can start telling all of our fabulous, awesome Leo friends happy birthday, because it will be Leo season. Now, let's talk about some major stuff going on besides Mercury retrograde. The sun is going to square Uranus on July 25th. So you can expect to hear some unexpected news during this time. Now, it could be good news, but because it is a square is always a challenging aspect. Because it is a square, more than likely it will be news that you really do not want to hear. Okay, now for you, the sun is going to be in Leo in your 3rd house, dealing with siblings, neighbors, communications, and short distance travel. And it's also, and Uranus is going to be in house 12. And that's the house dealing with places of isolation, such as hospitals, jails, and it also deals with places of not places, but it deals with topics related to the subconscious, such as church, astrology, you know, things of that nature. So for you on July 25th, Gemini, you could hear, maybe you might hear some, maybe you want to take a retreat, and it's like a short drive from where you live, and they were booked up, like they didn't have any more spots. And so you might get unexpected news that, hey, a spot has opened up for you, and you can join the retreat. So that's something good that might come out of that aspect, the sun square Uranus, because Uranus is all about sudden changes, surprises, okay? Now, another thing you might hear about is maybe a sibling or a neighbor is in the hospital, or a sibling or a neighbor is in jail. Things of that nature. That's just an example. You could hear unexpected news about anything, but because of the houses that these planets fall in for you, it looks like it's going to be something related to communication, siblings, neighbors, short distance travel, along with hospitals, jails, religion. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your mind this month, that you might be hearing about some unexpected news. Okay? And I pray for you that it is good news, but it is a square. Just remember that, okay? Now, let's look at the new moon. The new moon is going to be a partial solar eclipse, which is a major new moon. Okay, now a little bit of information about eclipses. When you have a solar eclipse, this is when the moon is between the sun and earth. This is a time of transformation. It's a time of taking action. However, this new moon will be in opposition to Pluto. So during this time, you can expect to hear about some drama, or you can expect to see crisis or drama about to happen, but it looks like you will avert it. But you will hear about some type of drama or crisis. Now, most people will feel this energy. However, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn will be affected the most by this solar eclipse. So, also, this solar eclipse, it can affect you for the next 6 months. And it's also a preview of what to expect next year. It's like a preview of next year almost. Now, I'm going to pull one card to see what Gemini needs to concentrate on at this new moon in Cancer. And the new moon in Cancer is going to be in your second house of material possessions. So if you want to concentrate on anything, you can concentrate on your material possessions. Just write down a list of things you want to increase or things you want to see come into your life related to your material possessions. That's a good thing to put on your new moon wish list. But let's see what the cards say you should concentrate on. Power. This is about your inner strength, because this is going to be an emotional month. So you need to keep that in mind, that you have the inner strength to get through this. Okay, so at the new moon in Cancer, concentrate on the power that you have surrounding your material possessions. Okay, let's keep moving on. Let's look at the full moon, because the full moon is going to be a total lunar eclipse, which is a major full moon, and is going to be in Aquarius with Mars. Okay, now full moons are, usually an emotional time anyway. So the fact that it's a total lunar eclipse, it's like a full moon on steroids. It's like a full moon to the third or fourth power. So with the lunar eclipse, this is when the earth is between the sun and the moon. Okay, now most of us will feel this energy. However, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius will feel the energy the most. So now also Mars is going to be in Aquarius with this full moon, and at the time Mars is squaring Aquarius during this time. Sorry, Mars is squaring Uranus at this time. So this makes for emotional energy, a lot of emotional energy, So the best thing to do is remain calm during this time, because a lot of secrets will come out during this time. Another thing to keep in mind is that eclipses usually help you to release anything out of your life that's not serving you anymore. Okay, so if there's anything that you want, that you've been thinking about releasing out of your life, the eclipse helps you, and helps you do that. Now also what I want to talk about is, two sets of I'm calling them the two major groups for this month. The first group is what I'm calling the Take Action Gang, and that is Jupiter going direct in Scorpio on July 10th. That's going to be all about action, because Jupiter expands wherever it touches. For you, Jupiter is in your 6th house of daily activity, your health, your vitality, things of that nature. And also the new moon in Cancer in your house of material possessions. So those two together, one is happening on July 10th and the other one is happening on July 12th. Those two are going to, in my opinion, act together, okay, to bring about transformation. So keep that in mind. That's the first group I want to talk about. Now the second group is what I'm calling the emotional gang, okay? Let's look at it. We have the sun going into Leo on July 22nd. That's all about a dramatic energy, because Leo is dramatic. Leos can be dramatic. I'm a Leo myself, so I'm not talking about them behind their backs. So we have the sun going into Leo on July 22nd. We have the sun squaring Uranus on July 25th. That's about unexpected news. And then we have Mercury going retrograde in Leo on July 26th. We all know about Mercury retrograde. And then we have the full moon, which is a total lunar eclipse in Aquarius on July 27th. That's a big gang of emotional things waiting to happen. And then to top everything off, the full moon is going to be in Aquarius with Mars. And remember, even though Mars is retrograde, Mars is still Mars. And I've been using the story about the vicious dog, comparing it to Mars. So if you know of any vicious dog in the neighborhood, every time you're passing by the gate, the dog is just barking, just, jumping all over the place, trying to get over the gate to get to you. Now, imagine one day you're walking by the gate and the dog is not barking. So it makes you feel like you can just reach out and pet the dog. And the minute you reach out and pet the dog, he bites you. Why? Because the vicious dog is still the vicious dog, even when he's not barking. That's the same thing with Mars. Mars is still Mars, even though he is retrograde, okay? And we all know Mars can bring up anger. So Mars is just sitting back. He's minding his own business. He's in retrograde. And along comes the moon. Now, the moon is more of a feminine energy. So the moon is like coaxing him like, hey, don't you want to, get back to your normal self? Don't you want to make some things happen? And Mars is like angry. Mars is like, leave me alone. I'm trying to rest. So anyway, Mars can still bring out some anger during this time period. And when you look at all of the planets together, this emotional gang, the Sun in Leo, drama, Sun square Uranus, unexpected news, Mercury retrograde, just haywire, everything going haywire. And then the full moon, along with Mars in Aquarius, that's emotions and anger waiting to happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but just brace yourself. Between July 22nd through July 27th, brace yourself, okay? If you hear any screaming or whatever going on in the background, my son and his friends are playing the Xbox or PlayStation, something like that. And you know how it is when they lose, it's like, it's summertime. So okay, that's everything I wanted to mention. Oh, also I want to mention something nice that's going on this month. We have a great connection with Venus and Pluto. They are forming a bond this month. So Venus and Pluto is forming a bond. They're both in earth signs. And then also Uranus is in a good position with Saturn. It's in a good connection to Saturn. And so that Uranus-Saturn connection is helping us out to get through this emotional period this month. So now for you, Venus is in your 4th house, and then Pluto is in your 8th house. So remember, that's helping us remain or get through this emotional period this month. So I just wanted to mention that also. So this has been your July 2018 reading, Gemini. Please like this video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And if you would like a reading with me, you can contact me here. I do have my information listed below, and you can always visit my website as well. And until next month, Gemini, have a great month.